9:41 a.m. Eastern Time, July 17, 2026. On trading floors from New York to Shanghai, one ticker just flipped past the other in real time. For 13 months straight, Nvidia had been the single most valuable company on the planet. In this 1 minute, that changed. Apple's stock ticked upward. Nvidia's stock dropped almost 5% in barely half an hour. Traders watching their screens did a double take. The crown Nvidia had worn since the middle of last year had just moved to someone else, live on the open market. This wasn't a rumor, a prediction, or an analyst's guess about next quarter. It happened live in front of every trader watching a screen. Two companies, each worth close to $5 trillion, swapping the title of world's most valuable company more than once in a single trading day. To put that number in perspective, that is more than the entire yearly economic output of most countries on the planet, changing hands not over years of growth, but in market swings that took minutes. And by the end of the day, almost nobody agreed on exactly who had won. To understand why this moment mattered, rewind to June 2025. That's when Nvidia first passed Microsoft to become the most valuable public company on Earth, riding the demand for the chips that power almost every major artificial intelligence system in existence. For over a year after that, Nvidia simply did not lose the top spot. Every earnings report, every new data center deal with a major cloud provider pushed the number higher and higher. Apple, meanwhile, was quietly labeled something else in the financial press. A laggard, a company sitting out the biggest technology race of the decade. Then came October 2025, a single month that rewrote the scoreboard twice. Nvidia became the first company in history to cross $5 trillion in market value, a number no business had ever touched before. That same month, on the back of surprisingly strong iPhone sales, Apple crossed $4 trillion for the first time in its own history. Two very different companies climbing at the same time for two very different reasons. Nvidia was selling the picks and shovels of the entire AI boom. Apple was selling the phone already sitting in more than 1 billion pockets. Fast forward to July 17, 2026. Nvidia opens the trading day already sitting near $4.9 trillion, comfortably in first place, business as usual. Then, within the first 30 minutes of trading, the stock drops as much as 4.6%. Its market cap slides below $4.8 trillion in a matter of minutes. Traders who had watched Nvidia hold first place for over a year suddenly had a reason to check the board twice, and then a third time. While Nvidia was sliding, Apple was climbing. Shares inched higher through the morning until Apple's total value hit roughly $4.9 trillion at its session high, pulling ahead of Nvidia and claiming the title of world's most valuable company for the first time in more than a year. For a few hours that morning, the AI race had a new leader on the scoreboard, and it wasn't the company that actually makes the chips. But here's the part most headlines got wrong by the very next morning. The lead did not hold through the closing bell. Nvidia clawed back through the afternoon, finishing the day down about 2.2%, but still worth just over $4.9 trillion, edging past Apple by a margin some reports put at only around $6 billion, a rounding error at this size. Other outlets tracked the same day differently. One financial outlet reported that Apple actually finished on top, at roughly $4.88 trillion against Nvidia's $4.86 trillion. Even the analysts paid to track this down to the decimal could not fully agree on who technically won the day. That's how close this race actually got. So why did Nvidia stumble at all if the AI boom is still supposedly in full swing? Because Wall Street's attention was rotating to a new stage of the story. Investors were shifting money away from the chip makers that build AI's brains and toward the next layer of the build-out, memory chips and data center infrastructure, benefiting companies like Micron and SanDisk instead. Nvidia had still gained roughly 9% over the recent stretch, but it had largely sat on the sidelines of this specific rotation, while Apple, the company everyone had quietly written off in this race, was suddenly back in favor with the very same investors. One investment strategist put it simply to Reuters that day. Apple was seen as a laggard in the AI race because it wasn't spending to develop its own models, but now sentiment has changed. That single sentence captures the entire flip. The market wasn't just repricing two stocks. It was quietly rewriting the story of who actually wins an AI race. The company building the engines underneath it, or the company putting AI into 1 billion pockets every single day. Nothing about this is settled. Nvidia and Apple are separated by a gap so small it's essentially a rounding error at their scale, a few $1 billion of difference on two companies, each worth close to $5 trillion. That means the title of world's most valuable company could flip again tomorrow, next week, or on the next earnings call from either side. This isn't really a story about one company winning and another one losing. It's a story about two completely different bets on the exact same AI future, running neck and neck at the very top of the market. So next time someone tells you Nvidia has already won the AI race, remember July 17th, 2026, the day the most valuable company on the planet changed hands twice before lunch. Which bet do you think actually wins long term, the chip maker building the engines or the phone already sitting in your pocket? Drop your answer below and subscribe for the next chapter of this story as it keeps unfolding.